What you see on your screen, everybody coming in, check this out. This is probably the most exciting thing that like first off, my hat's off to Phil. Because yesterday he had a board meeting with our VCs and he told them about the 100K cash giveaway we're doing in April, and they almost blew a gasket. They're like, "You guys are doing what now?" I'm like, "Look, we want to get everybody excited about what's coming down the pipeline for RepeatMD with our version 2 of the product, and we believe in bribing people, whether it's Louis Vuitton purses or money. Like, hey, let's have a great time with it." So Phil has really masterminded this, but I want to take some time to highlight some of the things you see on your screen here. So first and foremost, like, this is not like 100K, Phil, like, correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't like one of those things where, like, it's like, we're not like, you're not really giving the money away. Like, no, we're really giving it away.
Yeah. I'm not going to say any names, but I've been to plenty of shows where they give away cash, but it's really like a check in the form of a discount. So I'm like, no, this is real. So yeah, that's where my VC's had a heart attack. This is real cash. This is $100,000 live cash giveaway. It's for our first virtual Sell More Summit. It's on a Saturday, April 15th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. virtual. What I like to say, this is a no bullshit sort of summit. There's no upsells. There's no vendors. There's no, let's try to cross sell. This is pure education with speakers that are just absolutely amazing on their topic. So we're talking about med spa KPIs, top 5 practice performer indicators. We're talking about how do we get to 30% of our revenue through retail items, how to get $75,000 a month in membership sales. What's the value of that? V2 of our product as well. Our product is set to launch in April. It's the biggest upgrade RepeatMD's ever undertaken, where we're really working with a best of class e-com experience. And Michelle, I know you've seen a little bit of that already. Yeah, maybe you can share some of your excitement on that, because you've got a sneak peek. What do you think about V2 coming up?
Yeah, we cannot wait. We are so excited. The features are amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. So that's going to be incredible. But what I'm really excited about as well is a special roundtable. So what we did is we put together 5 of the industry leading private equity partners to talk about how do we build a sellable practice that's worth 5 times more than your competition. Because the truth is, folks, less than 13% of those who want to sell their business actually do get sold in the first place. So how do we build a sellable business? Not that you need to sell, not that you want to sell, but if you were to sell, how do we make sure that you have 5x the value, right? That's the difference between selling your practice for 2 million and 10 million. And so that panel is going to be super awesome. You can scan that QR code to sign up for the Sell More Summit. It's totally free. It's our gift back to you to put on an event like this.
Yeah, and Phil, I want to just tap on that. Building the valuation of your business isn't just for selling it. If you have a more valuable business, it makes it easier to access capital, easier to grow the business. So, growth begets growth. And we put this together 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. April 15th. Scan that QR code, and where it sounds like, Phil, you're taking us to the sign up flow right now.
I'm looking at it. That we had a message that it wasn't working. So
checking it out. Yeah, that's always good. You never know.
It's all good.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, like Phil said, this is a no bullshit summit. Like, that we love doing the educational content. This is the part of the job that me and Phil absolutely love the most, is getting on here, just taking anything we learn and feeding it back to you guys. And this is what this is all about. Launching the V2 and giving away a bunch of cash and having a great time. So if you've ever gone to any of the trade shows, supplier shows, or any events like that, it's going to be like that, but it's going to be just based around content that's really going to help grow your business. So please, if you're on this call, you definitely need to be on that call, because we're not giving away 100K on this call. So don't miss. We
are giving away a Louis Vuitton bag per usual.
Of course, we're giving away a Louis Vuitton bag. I think that's table stakes for us at this point, Phil. And if you don't know who Phil and myself are, this is your first time watching and joining us. I'm Chris Shumenko, privileged to be a co-founder, VP of Business Development here at RepeatMD. Phil, as you already know, you can't miss him. He's the guy that everybody really loves, the White Knight, because of his white hair. He is our founder, CEO, and we're very excited to take you through today's webinar on how to turn your followers into dollars. And Phil, without further delay, I say that with one delay, quick poll. We want to always like to know, like, hey, who on here actually, is a current client, and are you not a client yet, and it's your first time checking out, and you got intro to some information. So please let us know here, fill out the poll, click the button. That way we can have an idea of, who we're talking to. So yeah, fill that in as you get a chance there. We'll get the poll results coming in. Now, Phil, without any further delay, let's start it and teach our folks here how they can turn their followers into dollars.
So with that being said, I do want to think about something before we get into this topic, Chris, about how to followers earn dollars. We're going to show some stats on why it's important. Might motivate you all to say, hey, I need to turn my Instagram level up a notch. You wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case today. But Chris, we talk about this all the time about followers into dollars, right? Why is that so important? And what is the saying that we always have?
We have a lot of sayings, so you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific, though.
When it comes to followers into dollars, the thing that we talk about specifically is we know, because we can't, and I know you can't actually pay your bills with the amount of followers you have on Instagram, right? Up to this point, it doesn't matter if you have 1 follower or 100,000 followers. You can't go to the bank and try to cash that check. You actually have to convert your followers into a transaction, right? And so a lot of the topic today is, how do we build a following? That's important, but how do we convert them? How do we get them into saying, hey, we have 1,000, 2,000, or in the case of Dr. Holden here, over 100,000 followers, but how do we convert that into a sale? And so that's really the practical advice that we want to talk about today, is not only how to build, not only what the best people are doing, but also how do we convert those followers into transactions, right? And that's the main topic of today's conversation. So when it comes to social stats, these are just interesting to know, and these are always great to take home with you, right? Motivate the team to turn your content to the next level. Is we know 90% of people follow brand on social media, right? So people follow brands. People follow people for sure, but they also follow brands. Now, the question for today is going to be, okay, how do we make our content good enough for people to follow? And instead of Chris and I doing the talking with this, especially with the panelists today, we're going to speak with them and say, hey, how do you do it, right? 130 million people tap on Instagram product tags each month, right? So people are actually transacting on Instagram. 43% of global shoppers research products online via social network. I don't have this stat, but I would say most everyone would agree that 90% of aesthetic, patients go look at your Instagram before going to your practice. Dr. Holden, what do you think?
I think absolutely they do. I think that Instagram is the way that we're showing a portfolio of our work, and they learn about us and they learn about our personalities before they even come into the office. So
100%
on that channel, we are missing out on people that are just looking for that piece to connect with someone before they choose you.
Yep. And that's a huge part of Dr. Holden's talk today, which he's going to dive into. Consumers who are influenced by social media are 4x more likely to spend more on purchases. The brands with social media presence have 32% higher sales. Social media influences almost half of millennial purchases, right? And I think that if we have the stats on aesthetics in particular, I'm thinking 9 out of 10 are really going to your site first. So Chris, let's talk about what we're going to cover today.
Yeah, so just the eight piece rundown here. So we're going to start off with what the most popular aesthetic practices on Instagram have in common, which is fantastic. Like they say, success leaves clues. So let's not start from scratch. Let's see what the best practices are. We're going to share with you the top accounts to follow on Instagram, so you know who those folks are, so you can follow them and get some great ideas for your content. We're going to talk to Michelle Bauer, get her tips for running Instagram campaigns and promos. We're going to talk to Ashley Steely, get her secret to getting content out there on a regular basis. We're going to talk about how to build your brand with one of the best in the business, Dr. Amanda Holden. And we're going to get Dr. Holden's tips for scaling your team. These are two critical topics. Finally, we're going to talk about the keys to using influencers, right? So if you see influencers out there and you're wondering, how does this happen? How can I make it work for me? Maybe you think it's, costs too much. Phil's going to break down some of the myths and show you how you can do that. And then, of course, what's number 8, Phil?
The Louis Vuitton giveaway.
The Louis Vuitton giveaway from
right.
Phil Sitter, none other. So let's hop into it.
Awesome. So panelists today, we added their @ symbols. This is Instagram, an Instagram talk. So let's make sure we're following all of our panelists. We have our very own Hannah Sellers. We'll tell you a little bit about her background. We have Michelle Bauer. right here at Oceana Lux Med Spa. She is RepeatMD royalty around here. She has crushed it with her marketplace, and we're was talking about her and her team. They have an amazing practice here in Texas. Then we have Ashley Steely, also just absolutely killing it on the platform. She's doing an amazing job with her locations. And then, of course, Dr. Amanda Holden for HTB Aesthetics. They have 6 locations in California, and I don't know how she can do as much as she does, but Dr. Holden is a total juggernaut. So super excited for her to be a part of the conversation today. So, Chris, let's introduce Hannah Sellers.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure
what a great
to introduce
last name, by the way.
Hannah Sellers, Hannah the Seller. So I'll tell you guys about Hannah. Like, we're very lucky to find Hannah. I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to find anybody as young and motivated and just talented as Hannah is. But she is a true social media expert. Like, we didn't just hire Hannah right out of college saying she wants to get into social media. Like, Hannah actually used social media to launch and build her own line of women's athleisure or athletic wear. Hannah, I just saw that word on the internet today, so maybe that's what it's called. You can correct me when I'm wrong in a second. Okay. But think about this. At 22, 23 years old, she's built a brand using social media only in almost no budget to $150,000 in sales as a part-time gig. Right. And I bet she could go much further if she was doing that all in, but she's not, because she's helping companies like ours scale and grow our social media influence. And if you follow us on Instagram, you can see that we have some world-class content. And we're lucky to have Hannah here today, because Hannah is going to walk us through exactly some of her, well, I guess she's walking through her top 5 tips and tricks, how she executes building a brand using social media. So Hannah, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you, Chris. So number 5, my secret to the most followed aesthetic practices, what they have in common. They are all showcasing their before and afters on Instagram. They're showing their actual work. They're not using stock photos, and they are having to put a strong caption. So like right here, Peace Love Med Spa, they're showing what it is that this patient got done. 3 syringes to the chin and jawline, 0.55 cc's to the lips. They're adding in the price. This is optional based on what your practice is comfortable with. I like the transparency of it because it sets an expectation for your followers. And then, of course, they're adding a call to action at the end of how to actually book the service. So these photos do the best on Instagram because it's showcasing real patients, and people are more motivated to buy them because they buy based on emotion and the result of the procedure, not just, oh, I want filler.
And a quick question on that before we move on. With these before and after posts, question we get is, can I pay to promote these before and after posts, or can I not do that?
So you can, but you have to be careful with the wording on it.
Can't make any any medical claims. Is that right?
Claims. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Hannah. All right. Perfect.
So this goes along with before and after photos. Treatment videos also do really, really well because you're educating your followers on the services that you offer. So this is one of our clients, Skin Perfect Medical, with only 6 videos. They've added 60,000 eyes to their treatments. So I really like the video aspect of it because it's very transparent and it's showing the process of what it's actually like getting the service done at your clinic. And this is a great way to educate your patients on the services you offer.
Hannah, any tips or tricks on how they should record those videos? Should they bring somebody else in there with them? Obviously they can't do it themselves. Any ideas for how to get that? You need to ask your patients first to get the consent on that, correct?
Yes, you do. Always ask for consent. Every single patient that comes in, you should be taking before and after photos. But I would say if you're just starting out, just film it on your phone. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you can also even ask your staff to film a video.
That's a great point. I think Hannah's making there, is that just getting content is better than some content is better than perfect content. So don't be afraid to start where with what you got. Right.
Exactly. So they're all setting up their profiles for success. Our client here, Gold Skin Care Center, has their bio all filled out with a lot of their popular services. They have their location of where they are and links, which I'll touch on this in the next slide. It's a very important piece. And then contact info. You really want people to take action on your profile and make an appointment or download your app. And then lastly, organized stories. So this one, they have their VIP app on there. They have a little bit about their doctor, some popular services. A tip I will add for this is always keep them up to date. So if you have specials on there, don't have them from last year. You want really relevant, easy to access info for your followers.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Secret number 2.
Okay. So
I think we're at number 3. But yeah.
We're counting
Wait.
down.
I don't know what
We're counting down.
There's 5.
Counting down.
That's okay.
So
Well, secret number
they
4.
all
That's number
have-
2 on the countdown. Sorry, Hannah.
Yeah.
We're blowing up Hannah's scene here because we can't count over here. So apologies. Go ahead, Hannah. What's secret number 4-2?
So they all have a place to direct their followers to. So like you saw on the last slide, they have links in their bio. We recommend Linktree. It's a great way to add multiple links under one link. So this one in particular has their app to RepeatMD, has their website, and you can add anything you want on here. You can add reviews, you can add your alley.
Hannah, what's Linktree for those of us who don't know?
Linktree is an application to add multiple links under one link, and you can customize it like we see here to make it very branded. A tip I would have for if you're a RepeatMD member is to put the title of your app link as your welcome offer instead of just sign up for our app.
So make sure that if you're
Yep.
linking to RepeatMD, you can say, hey, what they're going to get by clicking the button. So it gets the clicks, right?
Yeah, like get $50 off.
Yeah. So that's a great piece of point to address for the 50% of those who are RepeatMD clients on this call today. Nobody wants to sign up for an app. They do want the welcome offer that you have. Okay. So if you're thinking about, like, if I were just walking on the street today and I were like, hey, sign up for our app. Nobody has time to just sign up for an app. But if I was like, hey, get $50 or get $100, whatever your welcome offer is, get a $99 hydrofacial. If you lead with your offer, you'll see your conversion skyrocket, right? So this is exactly that. It's like $1 $99 hydrofacial, $100 off your next service, whatever it is. That's what people want. Nobody wants to sign up for an app, but they do want the offer. And part of that is it flips them into converting, and now they're part of your app. So Starbucks, one of the biggest brands in the world, they don't walk around and they're like, hey, sign up for our Starbucks app, sign up for our Starbucks app. If you go into Starbucks, I challenge you to go look at all their in-house stickers and promotional material. They would lead with their offer. Want a free coffee? Scan here to get a free coffee. Scan here to get any coffee. Variations of their offer, not the action of just signing up for an app.
Yeah,
So
just look at the language. If you look at the language, sign up for our app and get when they hear sign up for our app, they stop listening. If you say get $99 by signing up for our app, by flipping just the words in the context of the sentence, you're going to get so many more signups. And that's a great point. And thank you for elucidating that, Philip. So,
and then finally, here we go.
Yes, so you might be surprised by this one, volume over quality. So the biggest aesthetic Instagrams, they all have a lot of posts. They're all active. And this might scare you away, like to be posting a lot, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start and be consistent and stick with it, and you'll see your followers go.
And I'm going to add to this. So, personally, me and Phil, like we try to, post on LinkedIn all the time. And, early on, when you start that journey, you think like, oh my God, I'm so annoying. I'm posting all the time. Here's the secret. We'll clue you in on them. Phil, you're probably going to add to this because I know you understand this better than most. When you make a post, like think about how many followers you have. You have 5,000, 10,000, 1,000, 500 followers. See how many likes you get, right? It's a fraction of a fraction because not everybody sees your post when you put it out there. I think it's like last time I checked, and Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like 1.2% of your followers actually see your post. So if you want everybody to see it, you have to post 100 pieces of content. So post away and make sure people get your message out there. You can't overshare. Great point. And Hannah, bring us to the number one super secret that's going to make sure that they have the best content at all times.
Okay, my top secret is to follow the leaders. So these are 8 of my favorite people to follow in the aesthetic space. There are a variety of them, and they're all doing really, really well. And I think y'all should all follow them and find inspiration in what they post.
Yeah,
Awesome.
there's a quote that you said, Chris, which is "Success leaves clues. I also love steal like an artist." Right? There's no, and so steal like an artist is always a good one as well. And you're gonna have 3 other panelists today that you should absolutely follow as well for inspiration. But if you see what's working for them, there's a high chance that you can model that behavior and see results for yourself. And if you don't do it, like some of our panelists today, where they're like, "Hey, I let my team run it." Well, that's perfectly fine. Give them these 8 to follow and say, "Hey, I like these. Let's go ahead and use what they do as a framework." I love frameworks. Frameworks are the best, right? We borrow frameworks all the time from all sorts of people and say, "Hey, what they're doing is getting us results. Let's use that framework on our business and see if we get similar results." Chances are, if you use a similar framework, you're going to get a similar result.
And Hannah, before we let you go, one last question. Is there any, just as a little bonus tip, do you have a recommendation for the number of stories someone should post in a day? What's an ideal number in your opinion?
I say 3 is good.
3? Good number. All right, we'll leave you guys with that. Hannah, thank you so much for coming on. I know it takes a lot of courage to jump on and do one of these webinars, especially with a couple of maniacs like me and Phil. So we appreciate you jumping in and joining us today. And please follow Hannah at repeatmd.md to see all the content she's putting out there every day.
Yep, and there is a
you.
shout out here on the comment. It's with Dr. K Beauty. It's actually Beauty by Dr. K. We'll send that updated on the presentation. So, yep. So let's bring in Michelle Bauer. Hannah, thank you so much for joining us today. So Michelle Bauer, we're going to bring you in over here, and the topic of your conversation is how I run my Instagram without it running me. I love that one, right? And it's true, because here's what we love about these masterclasses. This is my favorite part of these masterclasses. We try to bring in 3 different perspectives, all of which you can pick and choose what makes the most sense for you, right? Some people on this call today, they resonate with that. How I run my Instagram without running me. Other people on the call today might say, "Hey, I want to get 100,000 plus followers." Right? And so we're going to have a little bit of all that, but I love this, where I run my Instagram without running me. And part of that was, we talked about converting followers into dollars, right? And so Michelle's done an amazing job with her business, and she's increased sales by $500,000 in the last 6 months. She's generated a membership program that's generating $35,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue out of a location. And she grew her practice valuation by 2.5 million in the last 6 months. So if we want to talk about how am I converting my followers into dollars, this is somebody you definitely want to hear from. So with the how, with that piece, we were going to talk about 3 pieces of curating your message. Before we get into that, Michelle, I just want to hear from you as a business owner. Like, what's your take on Instagram? Like, what's the value of it in your business? And what, maybe a couple pieces of advice, and then we'll hop into your 3 keys to curating your message.
Well, I would just agree with everything Hannah has said, that Instagram is such a key piece for this industry. And, I don't know why, but it really is the driver of this industry. So I think it's so important for people to see your personality, to see who is there, so that they have an idea. People are generally afraid, right? If they've never done very many aesthetics, they want to know about it. They want to know what to expect. They want to have some idea of what to encounter to decrease their fear, right? No one wants to come out looking botched. So I think that's why Instagram is so vital to this industry.
Yep, 100%. So let's talk about your first key. Make your message more than just treatments. What do you mean by that?
I think for me, obviously treatments are valuable, but I think that it's really important that you set a stage for what you're doing. And so at Oceana Luxe, one of the things that we try to work so hard on is a white glove experience for our client. We want them to relax. We want them to have an amazing experience when they come here, outside of the objectives of their outcomes. And so part of that is part of what we try and show. Sometimes that can get a little hard to show, but I mean, it's one of the things that we try to do.
I love that. The number 2 is put the client at the center of your message.
Yeah, so really it's all about our clients, right? We exist for them. We wouldn't be here if they didn't come to see us, right? So our need is to really help them see how important and valuable they are to us and how much joy we get in changing their lives. And so that is what really turns our crank. And that's what we want them to know, that is really our motivation behind our treatments, behind our policies, behind everything that we do. We want them to have an amazing experience and outcome.
So what I like to call out is, based off both of those pieces, before we get to number 3, it sounds like to me that you want the client, when they go on your Instagram, to get an essence of who you and your team are and how you treat your patients prior to even coming to your practice, right? So you're really using it almost as like a lens into your practice to understand, like, what am I all about? What's my team all about? What are our values? What are the experience that you're going to get at Oceanalex? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's really fair. And there's so many things they can have done here or experience at Oceanalex. And many people only come in maybe for one thing, or they like one thing only, and they don't give themselves time to really explore. So that's why we just want people to understand the breadth of all the things that they can experience and be transformed by.
Absolutely. And then final, use your social media as a tool to educate about your services, your products, and it seems, again, part of your ethos and your why. So if you could break that down for us on how you translate that into Instagram, that would be great.
Yeah, I really feel like the greatest value that we give our clients really is our education. And there are so many things people don't know and don't understand about slowing the aging process down. And so our biggest gift to them is really spending the time to help them understand all the pieces, right? We can work maybe on the outside, but if they're not also maintaining things at home, it's not going to do a whole lot for them in the long run. So, I mean, there's so many steps of their time with us when they're here that we want to help them understand those things. So I think the education piece is one of our biggest whys.
I love that. So if I'm thinking about the title of, running the Instagram, not having the Instagram running me, the way that the one word that I really think describes you and the way you think about Instagram is just authenticity. It's like, hey, I don't have to overthink this thing. I just got to put my client in the center of the message. I got to, let them know who I am and what I'm about, educate them as I would a patient. And if we do that and we post frequently and we use those tips that Hannah gave us, it will follow. And most importantly, doesn't matter amount of followers. What matters the most is, does it convert into a patient? Does it convert into a sale?
Oh, right. Yeah. So for me, in my case, I'm not so much about the numbers of my followers, but I really just want them to know who we are, and I don't really care if it doesn't come out that great. I'm just much more interested in a message that they know that they can really trust us.
Amazing. I love that.
Awesome.
So that is the key takeaway. I focus on creating the message and the culture so I can collaborate and delegate to my social media manager, where she can do her magic with her expertise, right? And so I love that, because what you're saying is, I'm giving her the essence and the authenticity, collaborating with her, but at the end of the day, I'm just letting her do what she's great at. You want to touch a little bit on that?
Yes. So, I'm not up on all the Instagram, little thingies that you can do on it, right? There's so many little thingies on it, right? And so I just don't stress myself out with that. I know that I can't do that very quickly, and it would just take me too much time, right? But she's amazing at it. But I just want to help guide the overall theme and the overall messaging. And then I know she's going to put out an amazing product. And so I have a lot of trust in her that way. So we talk frequently all the time. And it really, I think, makes it better.
And because authenticity is so important for you, is she coming up with ideas and then showing them to you, right? In the sense of like, hey, getting these for approval once a week? Or did it start that way, and now because you've been working together for so long, she's just going
Yeah, no, I don't micromanage it to that extent. We just talk about the things we want to hit that month, right? So we do
Okay.
try to mirror our message between what's on our website, what's on our social media, and what we're running specials perhaps in that month, and what we're doing in texting, what's going out. So we try and get all of those pieces of information the same. And so that each of our team members know what's going out when. So those kinds of things, you know, the organizational side of it. And then the things that we want, the keywords, you know, keywords, I'm big on keywords. I love keywords, but everything else she can take away, and I don't really need to be in it. You know, I just try and make sure that I'm on it every day to respond.
And a great question came along the ways, and well, this will be a good question to ask all three of you. But when it comes to being the face of the content, are you letting other other people in the practice talk about the educational services? Are you taking that on where you're like, hey, I'm the face of the org, so I'm going to talk about these certain pieces? How do you delegate that piece?
Yeah, so we all share that, right? So I really want all of my providers to come in and talk about what they do, what they see, how they're changing lives. And so I share all of that with them. My interest is to authenticate them and to really profile them so that, you know, there's a lot of perceived value in who they are and what they're doing. That's really important to me. Yeah.
And I think that's a really important distinction. I agree with that. And here's why I agree with it, because if you start building the whole thing off yourself, then they expect you to be there all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have all this trust, right? And then they're coming in and they're like, well, she's not here. You know,
Right.
Dr. Holden's a great example. She's traveling and speaks on so many stages. If she built the whole thing off of her, they'd be like, okay, well, where is she? Right. They'd expect her to do all the treatments. So it is really important to be a part of that. Right. But it's also important to empower your team to use your platform to build trust within them as well.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. And is your social media person inside in-house? Are they hourly? Are they salary? Are they like outsourced? What does that look like?
Yeah, she is in-house, and she's hourly at the moment. And we have some markers for her, but yeah, she's in-house.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
have found that it's more control. You know, we did outsource it for a long period of time, and the quality wasn't there, and the organic content is really difficult when you deal with an outside group, right? So I really wanted to bring it inside, like Hannah was saying. You know, I mean, the more organic you can do your own thing, the greater the public knows and sees what you're doing.
I haven't met a client yet that has been super happy with outsourcing any sort of thing with social media in the sense of posting for them, unless they come inside the practice and they're there, just because it really lacks the authenticity that you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
They don't really ever capture your voice the way that you and your team would. So I think that's going to be a common theme as well. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that piece today,
Yes.
Michelle. That was refreshing, and we really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so Ashley, we have Ashley Steely here today for how I empower my team to create content, right? And what's been amazing about her story, she's been able to double her conversions in the last year when it comes to social. She just launched her marketplace. I would say, what, Ashley, like what, maybe 4 months ago?
Yeah, literally 4 months ago.
Awesome. So she 4 months ago, she created a membership program through Repeat, and now she's got $8,000 coming in every single month. She has 1,600 rewards members. So she's a great person to ask, how do you get so many people to sign up? I think we'll start with that. And then she's increased top line sales by over 300,000. So Ashley, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're excited to hear your piece, especially about empowering your team, because again, it's like, how do we not, as business owners, have to do everything, right? It's like, it feels like, yeah, it's like, I mean, we feel that here, we feel in every company where you just feel like you have to do everything, and it's all about empowering the team. Let's start with what I talked about before. Like, you know, we have 50% of the attendees on the call today are RepeatMD clients. Just briefly, 1,600 members. What's been your secret on getting that many members to join?
It's actually so funny because I was just on a call with a prospective client of yours on how we did that as well. And I told her, and I'll tell you guys, like, you know, we officially were onboarded and ready to rock and roll literally like October 4th. And those first 30 days, we just kind of fell flat on our face. Like we couldn't see anybody, like we had the far and few, right? But we just weren't like churning and burning, which is what my hope was for. So what I told, this person that I was talking to, and I'll tell you guys, is we had to kind of look within, kind of see what were we saying, what were we doing? And we just had to reframe how we were asking these people to sign up for the app. And kind of like how Chris, you were mentioning, and earlier, leading with the offer and then coming in with this is how you get it, right? What we were doing is like, oh, download our app, download our app, download our app. And it's like, oh my God, we just sound like parrots. So why right? Like these patients are checking in. We literally did this whole, we have a whole new check-in process. What's nice about it is you also get $50 off your treatment today. And what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take your phone out and you're going to take your camera out and you're going to scan this and you're just going to follow the directions. And so like you're literally like guiding the patient on this, albeit small journey, and they would literally listen to you do it.
Oh yeah, and that's brilliant. So you're guiding them on, hey, this is how we operate our practice, and you're going to get $50 off for any service you want today. And so they're like, oh, no brainer, and they just kind of do it at that point.
Yes. So now
amazing.
It's like when they've come back, we're like, have you checked in? And they're like, oh, and let me pull out my app now. You know what I mean?
Amazing. Thank you. I think a lot of people on the call are going to benefit from that, Ashley. Thank you so much. And so Ashley, we had awesome conversations about, bringing content in-house. I think when we were talking as well, we were saying like, hey, can we outsource the content? We can't outsource the content. You felt very strongly that it's got to be authentic. It's got to be in-house, but you don't want to be the person doing all the work for that. So it's all about empowering the team.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like if I could do it all by myself, I would, but that's just completely impossible. I think I would probably like pull my hair out. And with my team of beautiful, amazing, bright women, and like they can just do it themselves, and they do it together. And that I know that first one, it's like, how do we empower the team to create their own content? And it's really just getting them involved, having them, have like a master of a minds meeting once a month and really just think about all the things that they've seen, because they're very active on social. I am not, actually. So it's nice to have other people on my team who always know kind of what's happening, what's trending, what's hot. And we can kind of talk about how we're going to plan what our next month's roll of content is going to look like.
Yep. And so when you do that collaborative meeting, are you part of that meeting? And it's just like a once a month kind of mastermind, like, hey, what are we going to be focused on? What are we going to be promoting? And just getting everyone part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not perfect where it's just once a month. There are some things where we get excited about throughout that we just can't help but hold on to it.
Yeah, so, right.
Share the idea. And sometimes, we plan our content. So all of our content's planned literally a month ahead. And if there's things that, like, for example, the Super Bowl, right? Rihanna was like super hot and poppin', was what everybody was saying. So we had to hop in on that and have some, like, our content creators create something and just post, like, strike while the iron is hot.
Oh yeah. So my background was in restaurants, and we always called it newsjacking. So if the funniest newsjack we ever did, do y'all remember when Pokemon Go came out and everybody actually walked outside? Do y'all remember all the kids that would walk outside? They're all of a sudden overnight, there were hundreds of kids walking outside. The parks were full. It was like we went back to 1975 and people were doing these sort of things. And so newsjacking is what we always called it. As small business owners, we look what's trending, exactly what Ashley said, and then we post that day of that trend, whether it be a meme or whether it be something that's relevant in pop culture today. And what's awesome about that is the algorithms pick that up and they start sharing like crazy, because that's the content that people want to see. So Ashley, that's a great call out. And it really speaks into your second piece, which is volume, right? Start broad and then what works for you. So my question with that.
You didn't tell us how you newsjacked with the Pokemon. You got us to the story, but you didn't tell us what you did.
Okay, so how
the fans want to hear.
We're trying to keep this going,
but the fans have to hear the story.
All right, so here's what we did. we newsjacked Pokemon by actually doing a Pokemon event inside the restaurant where we got all these people to meet up. And so we gave them a free appetizer and we had all of a sudden, like 600 people that all wanted to meet each other, that were all doing their little Pokemon thing together. And so the restaurant, like on a Tuesday, was like on 3-hour wait because we made ourselves like a Pokemon HQ. And then people would come and meet up every Sunday and do all their other things. But that was newsjacking. And we've done, you know, back in my days where I owned a bunch of restaurants, we would always look for things. So actually, it really sparked my creativity there. I totally forgot about newsjacking, but you nailed it. You see Rihanna and then you post something about that, right? And it can be silly. Remember where we had that missing plane, right? Like the missing plane that was gone. So one time we did a missing plane, we did a special on that, all sorts of different things.
The sillier, the better, really, in a lot of ways.
We gave away a canoe when we had a hurricane. I'm a big giveaway guy. So anyways, volume, start broad, then find out what works for you. I'd like to focus on the last part of the sentence. How do you know when something's working, right? We're going to start broad. We're going to start posting a bunch of other stuff, but how do we figure out when it is working, how to double down on that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can literally, if you have the app and if you understand the app, like I feel like it's very user friendly, despite me not actually using social media, but you can look at your insights and you can actually see it that way. Or you can also just take a look at what you have posted in the past and see where you're getting like the most traction, as in like likes or views, you know, and kind of like how Hannah was showing us all those videos that it was screenshotted. You could just see like there was thousands of people that watched it. And if you have videos that you posted, you can see that yourself as well. So I feel like that's so important because, you know, back to kind of what Hannah was saying, just post as much as you possibly can, despite quality. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, right? And I feel like that's where people get this misconception about trying to run their business and post it on social media. Like it's perfect shouldn't be there. There's no such thing, despite us being in the industry of beauty. People love to see the imperfections, and like having like all this random stuff will be able to help tie into, you know, where you need to focus on in your post. So if you notice, like for us, like before and afters, kind of how Hannah said it, like those are top notch, right? The videos, the like of showing how a whole treatment is done. Like people love stuff like that. So just getting creative.
I love that. Thank you. Then 3, use your social as your digital business card. Show people this is somewhere they want to be. Mm-hmm. So let's think of it as a person, like if it was me and I wasn't very active on social and I was saying like, oh, I don't really know the point. What do you mean about digital business card and showing people that that's the place they want to be?
Yeah. So realistically, what we do when we have our meeting of the minds is what I like to call it. We like to figure out the type of content that we're going to be planning. And the reason why I'm saying this is because there's things that are trending that are funny or kind of inappropriate or silly. And we want to use that because we notice it's garnering a lot of attention. And despite it being related to our industry or not, we find a way to relate it to our industry. So, you know, like I'm sure like whoever's been on TikTok or even on YouTube, as well as Instagram, if you scroll through, you just find these weird voiceovers, and the girls like to do that. So, you know, we want to show our personality of being the funny, the silly, the semi-inappropriate, right? And post that so people can look at it and be like, oh my God, these group of girls are actually normal, despite them, like, and some of my girls are just drop dead gorgeous and literally should be models, but we don't want to give off that, oh my God, like they're too perfect, I can't even be with them or hang out with them or, you know, service with them. So we wanted them, whoever's viewing our page, to feel like that they fit in, that they belong, that it's like, this is a place where I want to go and I feel like I'm going to have fun. Because a lot of our patients already do say that to us. Like they all like, we literally have to kick our patients out after checkout because they want to hang out and literally laugh with us. So you know.
I love that. And I think that goes back to Michelle's piece where it's about authenticity. I can feel what even you today on the talk is like, you're so authentic about your approach, and that just translates and people resonate with that. I'm sure everyone viewing today is like already resonating and feeling that. So love that. And then finally here, encourage your team to take before and after photos of services, no stock photos.
Yes. So I know Hannah also mentioned this too. So this is huge. So at the beginning, because we didn't have very many, you know, before and afters or videos, and I feel like some of the girls were also kind of shy at wanting to take take these pictures. We were using stock photos, but those were it's just trash. Honestly, I'll just be honest. It's not worth it. I've actually been to a page I've stalked because that's what we like to do, is kind of look at other people's pages in the industry to see what's hot, what's not. And there's actually been somebody saying, can we see normal photos instead of stock photos? So you don't want to fall into that trap. And if you can real results from real patients, then that'll just automatically speak volumes for you.
I love that. And I think people need to hear that, right? We should get a shirt, but no stock photos, right? Like it's so true. And because it's so non-authentic, right? Mm-hmm. And then the key takeaway, our girls know what is trending and how to create content that people want to see. So we leverage that.
Right.
And so with that, I think that on that piece, the only final piece I want to talk about is trust, right? Again, is this something that you're looking through? Is this something that you all do a mastermind? Do they all have access to the account? Are you hiring a social media manager, or have you just empowered your team to kind of take this on?
So great question. So how it works is I have a phone in each room as well as a phone at the front. So pretty much everybody has a phone at any time to record content. We
smart.
Implementing Cosmo glows. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's like almost like this half moon crescent light, because the problem that we've been running into, we used to have somebody that we paid to come in and record for us. So we've definitely gotten very spoiled, and we've been lacking on being able to take great content. So then I invested in the Cosmo glows, and we're kind of trying it out. But so far, I just got feedback today from one of my providers that she absolutely loves it because it makes her job easier. And I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. And pretty much, so she's able to take the photos, and yes, Cosmo glows. Thank you.
Look that up, cosmoglows.com. There we go. Insider tip. Get you some Cosmo glows and leave some cameras around. Ashley, you're awesome. That was awesome. Thank you so much for all of the tips. I'm sure that is a lot for the folks on this call to put into practice today. For time's sake, you know us, we like to be right on time with all of our webinars. So let's move on to Dr. Holden.
Dr. Holden, we're going to get right into the meat of her presentation. Her practice, 100,000 followers, her own personal brand, 49,000 followers and growing every single day. So let's bring in Dr. Holden to talk about those pieces. So Dr. Holden, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's an honor to be here. I look forward to meeting those of you on this on this call in person at some point. One of my biggest passions is social media and marketing. And that's partially because, I'll just say this, and I'm going to stay on time, but it's partially because I came from the emergency world where I didn't want stalkers, and I didn't realize the value of creating your brand until I got into the cash-based medical aesthetics business. And it's absolutely one of the most powerful tools for building your business, building your medical practice, if you're in this industry in particular, because we're being looked at social media and all of our channels. So I love to speak about this, give many different lectures on this topic in particular. And I just returned from the 10X GrowthCon conference. And I want to share with you that if you know who Dana White is, I took some notes for the talks that I'm giving this week. And he says, Dana White is the founder of UFC. He's created massive amounts of businesses. We saw Mark Wahlberg and Tom Brady talk there too. And Dana says, social media is the greatest tool in the world for your brand. And whether you're creating your business brand, or you're watching this as a provider in your practice, or you're thinking about building your own business elsewhere someday, there are different strategies that we can employ and learn social media to the highest level, because it's a free tool. And if you go back to days where we advertised, we still are doing this, advertising on TV, advertising digitally in commercials, social media, when they're following you, they want to see your content. So you're advertising directly to the people that want to hear from you, which is super powerful because you're reaching many more people than you ever could in the past with traditional ads. So that's my intro.
I love that. What an intro.
Yeah. I have 3 slides here. I wish I could talk about so much more, but what I'll say is, in the beginning, how do you grow your following? So going back to the start, I wanted to learn everything from the beginning myself. I got the book Instagram for Dummies. We all know that algorithms change on really a monthly basis. I mean, more consistently on a quarterly basis, but I wanted to learn it inside out myself. So I started by building my own Instagram. I learned I would ask influencers as they came into my office that reached out to me and said, hey, can we do a collab? I would pick their brains about their top 3 tips for whatever channel they were best on. And I started adding that to my toolkit. I then hired a content creator and basically just paid $500 a month for someone that would put out the things that I was writing and the pictures that I was taking. And I pushed these out to geo ads. So I learned geo ads for Instagram to the highest level myself, and then reverse engineered how to create personas for each of those before and afters that I would create. So if I were to give you the biggest tip about geo ads, it's this: absolutely create your own before and afters. If you are inside of a practice where you don't ask your own patients if they want to be featured, that's a mistake, because a lot of our patients do want to be featured on our Instagrams. They actually are very quick to say yes. And it's great to have these before and afters. So for example, if I'm using a picture of young, plump lips, I have a geo ad around the persona that would want young, plump lips. So I will pick my target area, which could be potentially a 10 to 30 mile radius of one of my practices. And I will think of this persona, say, let's call her Amanda. She wants young, plump lips. Where does Amanda like to shop? What does she like to do? What are all of her interest categories? And how do I narrow down that age range to say 25, or let's say 18 to 35? And how many hits am I going to get on that range? So I might pick things like Louis Vuitton, because she's probably following Louis Vuitton, BMW, Mercedes, adventure travel, Starbucks, Target. Like, think about all the places that person shops and where they go, and design your geo ad for that person based on the picture that you are pushing out. And then I spread my spend out to about 15 geo ads per month, and I see which ones are performing at the highest level and which categories I've built out to the highest level, and bam, you've done it yourself. So
Right.
challenge you to do it yourself. Okay. So number 1,
and
geo
so
ads.
with geo ads, for those when running Instagram ads, is using a mile radius from your practice's location. So when I was running geo ads for my small businesses, it was about a 10 to 15 mile radius. For your business, I totally agree, 10 to 30 miles, because people travel, especially for practitioners that they follow, they will travel, right? And so I love the call out. That is a hot tip right there, folks. 10 to 30 miles, right? Like 30 miles is not too far to travel for a great outcome for a patient.
Yes. And also with your geo ads, think about if you're tracking what's coming in from Instagram, some people might be stalking you for 3 to 6 months before they decide to buy. So you're creating people that are engaging and want to watch you over time, and then they decide to come in. Yep. Number 2, building the interest in your brand. So you want them looking at your page. I first started with a business Instagram, and then I branched out and had my own personal brand Instagram, because if you don't have an Instagram at all, or you're just starting out with a business, it's overwhelming to have 2. But I see a huge value in having your own personal Instagram and having your providers have their own personal Instagrams, because we feature all of our providers on Holden Timeless Beauty Med Spa on that main Instagram. But they also have their own brands and their own styles. And it's just a personality thing. Like, you choose someone that you gravitate towards as your super fan. So they might choose a different provider because they're a little bit more mellow than my crazy wild personality, like they might want somebody different just because that's who they vibe with. Right. So there's huge value in that. And they look at it as a before and after portfolio. So get your providers engaged with that and tell them the value of what they're creating for their own personal brand. I'll tell you this, Katie the Injector on Instagram, who works as my VP of Clinical Operations. She's now a clinical injector for Gain, speaking on all the stages. She's going to be injecting with Shino Bay on Saturday, Sculptra, and Stephen Weiner on Friday. And that power of branding and influence comes from you being not afraid to get out there and speak and talk. So if your goal is to speak and talk, then you suddenly need to be building your brand in order to get the attention that helps not only you, but also the business.
Do you require that for your team,
Yes.
or is it a suggestion?
One of our KPIs is to post 3 times, at minimum 3 posts per month. That is very small because when we started, we didn't require that. I am going to be upping it with every new person we hire as we expand for their personal pages. And it's also one of the top downtime recommended activities is they have to record what service they're most passionate about, show a little bit about it in the office. We have ring lights in all the rooms, and that's pushed over to our main social media just on an iPhone in a folder on a special folder on our iPhones.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And then I'm sorry, I'm toggling both sides. My providers run their own accounts, but I've met people that they run their providers' accounts. So, but my providers run their own accounts with the exception that anything they've creatively made while they're working for me, if they go work elsewhere, if it's branded with Holden Timeless Beauty, they have to take down that specific content that's branded for us that we created. So that's a decision you make business wise.
Super smart.
Focus on a welcome as soon as they follow. This service actually, if anybody has a new service, the service just got served a letter from Meta, but we were using a service called Gramado that gives an automatic welcome message that somebody follows you, automatic welcome message goes out to them, welcoming you to the HTB family. We offer all of these things because if they were just looking at, say, your Botox before and after, they might not know that you do all these other things, and then telling them how they can contact you to book an appointment. So welcome message, you can do that with the little 3 dots, but we had an automated way so that in the middle of the night, they got that welcome message if they followed us.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, as followers go up, ensure you're pushing education on your stories, answer their questions before they can ask them. So you do want to educate on stories. And it's nice to have some like written things that appear. So it's a little bit more interactive. I know we have 2 minutes, so I'm going to go a little bit faster.
No, you're okay. We with the amount of value that you're giving everyone. If you're willing to stay. If you got 2 minutes, you got to go, then feel free to go. But I think people would appreciate the value over the time.
Absolutely.
Yes. So PS, you can set that up with Instagram. So we'll do a follow-up to say how we can set it up with Instagram. Hopefully, Lauren, you can just say which way do we set up the automated message with Instagram, because I need to learn that from you guys so I don't have to pay for it. So pushing out education, we tend to focus on the caterpillar, which is the story. That's what we call it. We don't do any more than 10 in a day. I think 10 is overkill because people have a limited attention span. I know that 3 probably is the most people want to see, but if you have a lot to say, you'll probably do a little bit more that day, especially if you're doing some fun things. But make sure you're leading in with something that pulls them into the story that you're creating.
Awesome.
So yeah,
this is
slides, right?
Yep. So this is one I really wanted to work with you on, with 3 keys to seeing return on investment on using influencers. And I think this is the one that is really important in your space, right? So from influencers, we're talking about return on investment, but I want to take a step back before talking about the return of the investment on influencers. You and I had a conversation, and we can talk for hours about this topic alone. Is with influencers, attracting them to your space, right? Mm-hmm. Having that conversation, right? Pulling them into your practice, right? Let's start with just briefly on how to get them in, and then we'll expand on that with the 3 keys to getting return on these influencers.
Yeah. So
finding influencers in your area is like the hot topic people think about. It's like, well, I don't even know where they are. So
the biggest way to find influencers in your area, if you're just starting out, is to go to different hashtags. Well, first of all, you can ask your client base or your staff or friends that you know, if they know of any local influencers. And ideally working with, say, a micro influencer would be better in the very first stages of starting out, because they really have a close touch to your patients. Or to their followers. But you can, so I'll just say it this way, say you had none of that, you start out with hashtags and you think about what hashtags would the type of influencer that you want to have advertised for you, where would they be posting things? So say I add Sculpt Neo to my offerings of my services, and I'm looking for a fitness influencer. I might start looking at hashtags like fitness San Diego, bodybuilding San Diego, hashtag Beachbody San Diego. You can type influencer San Diego, all kinds of different things like that. You start going in and searching through those hashtags to see who has bigger followings with a lot of engagement. You can then reach out to people like that you could put an offer out to. I'd love to have you in to try a demo and see potentially how we could work together to both build our business and just jointly. Now, one of the things that once you've built a brand on Instagram, you're gonna automatically have a lot of people that are gonna be reaching out to you, because influencers, they want to look better. They need what medical aesthetics offers. So don't give away things if you don't have to. That's one of my top tips, is you're gonna have more opportunities with influencers than you'd ever dream possible, because they are asking lots of different people because they want to get their stuff for free. But we give things to them that make them look better, which therefore makes them more money because they're on these social platforms. So my very first tip, once we get the influencers in the door, is to build a relationship. The relationship-based influencers that you have in your practice will represent your brand at a higher level than any other influencers out there. When I sit down, I meet a new influencer, I interview them, I hear about their life. I've already looked at their Instagram and the other channels that they're on ahead of time, so I kind of know what they're about. You want to figure out, are they right for your brand? Because they're advertising not only the brand you built for your business, but the brand you built for yourself. But if they're trying to be transactional and more about the money and what's in the contract and all these things, we do want to have a bit of a contract to hold them accountable, but that transactional side will be palpable to their followers. And if they're just posting brand relationship over and over again, their followers aren't going to necessarily believe that they're promoting like your office for the sake of they love you.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
And totally. And so when you're building that relationship and you're not being transactional, one of my biggest takeaways is like, okay, I'm going to meet this person. I'm going to build a friendship. I'm going to talk about their services. Yes, I may give them deals. Yes, I may give them free treatments, but eventually they're going to come back as just a patient and they're going to post about you for free because they love the practice. And they might get a better discount on this and that or whatever, but they're going to start going on their own volition. And I'm sure that you've seen that today in your business every day.
All the time. That happens all the time. And so like I invite them to events. The biggest influencers that I work with, I'll invite them to the Christmas parties. I mean, my team knows everybody, it's something where it feels really good because it feels like you have a friendship and you cheer each other on in your success.
And am I thinking about this right, that you actually have some treatment rooms named after some influencers that are like mega influencers in your area, like millions of followers? So that's the ultimate hack.
Yeah, I have all my rooms are named after something different or fun. Like I have a hashtag lip goals room, I have an M sculpted AF room, I have a hold time back room, and then I have a Nicole room. Nicole was one of the first influencers that I worked with. She took her own pictures to match the room. And when she brought her mom in for the very first time, she was so proud that she's actually featured in a room in our med spa. And what that does psychologically to your patients that come in to see you is they've watched you interact with this person that they already love as an influencer. They sit down with you in that room. They feel like they're with both of you already.
Yeah.
So they feel like they're
that.
at home.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's almost like a little
really
bit of a reality show, right? It's like the way that I see the way that I see under 20, so under 20 years old, like the way that I see them, interacting is with all these stories and reels is almost like little, we grew up with reality shows. They grow up with little shorts, like short videos where they get to know you. And we love that growing up, right? Like, Jersey Shore, all that shit, right? Like, and then we're watching that. This is their version of that, right?
Yes.
So with that, with using influencers, et cetera, and remembering influencers want to work with you, you're just saying on number 2, it's like, hey, don't feel shy. These are services that people want.
I already kind of said it. Remember, they want to work with you. You don't need to pay them to come in. I mean, I actually have never paid an influencer ever.
So just to be clear, you don't pay them with dollars, you trade with services.
Yes.
Exactly. So I want to be super clear with that.
Because that's a marketing spend. So if they're going to commit to being a brand influencer for me, and they want to represent my brand like a magazine would, I have them come into photo shoots. I feature them. I challenge them to be the most creative they can and create their own TikToks or reels or posts or, or YouTubes about what would their followers want to see, because that's going to bring value for me.
Speaking with influencers at a high scale, I just want everyone to know what influencers' biggest problem is. Mm-hmm. All right, folks, the biggest problem influencers have: content. They spend all day thinking about where are we as influencers, or if I was an influencer, going to get content from today. Mm-hmm. You are the dream case scenario for an influencer, right? So think about that. They have to think, how do I keep things fresh? How do I keep things exciting? Like, their whole job is content, and they stress out about finding places to do content in. And then here's Dr. Amanda Holden reaching out with her beautiful practice and saying, hey, come on in, we'll partner. And it's like a dream scenario for them. So it's like, I just want to make sure that we really talk about that piece, right? And you're so elegant about the way that you break that down. Mm-hmm. And again, you don't have to pay people in cash. And the nuance, what she's saying is marketing spend, it's a write-off for her. She's not just paying out of her pocket cash to influencers. She's just saying, hey, we're going to do a discount that's going to be, on your EMR or whatever. And now it's a write-off on your marketing spend. Right. Mm-hmm. So super brilliant. And then finally here, use influencers are marketing tools. I think what you're talking about there is the psychology, the way that you see them versus the emotional connection of like, I'm not going to give a discount to this person. You actually think of it as part of your marketing spend.
Think of them as another business that you're collaborating with, and think about how they can bring the most value. Like you need to look at the influencers that you're choosing to work with as those that can bring the most value to your business. And then you need to pick their brains about how you are going to apply that to your own strategies. Because some of them that come in to get, some of the patients are actually massively high up in social media, and I'm still picking their brains because I want to take my stuff to the next level. And they're getting emails from Meta saying, these are the exact algorithms that we're rolling out this month. And that's invaluable information to have. So influencers get that, your real patients get that. Don't underestimate the value of just asking about how people market, especially if they're in a successful business. So be strategic with who you choose, because it represents your brand, and then use them. So I have a studio that I built next to my headquarters, and in each one of my rooms, I have influencer ready backgrounds. So you could recognize that you're in an HTB. There's one area with glow angel wings. We have a custom LED sign that says Botox lips, M-Sculpt repeat. Everybody's drawn towards different things. We have green walls. We have like phrases that people say, like, I didn't tell my husband I was here. I told him I was getting a facial. People think different things are funny in different ways. And I've kind of thought about what backgrounds would people like in different arenas with what has been the most success I've had with influencers. And we use them for photo shoots, content. We try to get as much as we possibly can as far as collabs. We even do like influencer visit days where we'll have like the BTL bus tour come, and we have 5 of our main influencers there for a meet and greet. I had Sarah Trott from The Bachelorette. She hosted the entire BTL bus tour, and I just brought in videographers to film it. So that gives her content, it gives me content, and it helps us both grow together. And she wants to refer over more and more of her friends, most of which, I'm going to say this. I got a text today from someone in LA that said, that used to be an influencer for me in San Diego. And she said, my best friend has 361,000 followers on Instagram. Would you like her to be your influencer? And my first questions were, is she LA based or is she San Diego based? Because if she's LA based, I'm not going to waste my time right now because I don't have a med spot there, right? Number 2, some people that you get pushed your way, there are ways for you to look in the back end of all of their analytics, and they just have only male followers. We treat about 95% female. So if they're doing that for monetary gain for, these other sites, right? Then that's not going to be a highly valuable influencer to you. You want to
we're not doing our OnlyFans content. OnlyFans is next segment, so we're not doing that one tonight.
Yeah.
Just Instagram.
So if they're on OnlyFans and you're like, okay, well, your content's basically focused on males. Like if all you see is booties, you probably don't want that influencer. Okay.
Super smart.
Great
So,
call
I
out.
mean,
Super smart.
here are just certain things that you can ask. And then the biggest value, okay, I'll tell you this. This was also a huge win for influencers for me last week, because I get this question all the time. I have two friends that are influencers, and I call them friends because they truly started as influencers, and now they think about being creative social media managers inside of my practice. One came to do a videography photo shoot for personal branding for me. That's how much, like, I said, well, I don't quite see the value in you posting, but you are a great photographer. So let's have you come in and do a video photo shoot for an exchange of products. Well, they went to Morocco last week and they both texted me together with their faces and their pictures. They're over there doing a modeling photo shoot. And they said, we miss you so much. We just wanted to tell you, we feel so confident in this photo shoot that we're doing over here in Morocco. And they took the time to send me that photo. And that sort of relationship, it just made me feel good. And I know that that's something that not every influencer would take the time out to do. So that,
oh yeah,
that's
a true,
can I
yeah,
extract this and like show this to people just to be like,
yeah.
these are the relationships that you need to build with your squad,
Right.
because it's a national squad of people that represent you.
The biggest takeaway. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Amanda.
No, that's it. No.
I was going to say my biggest takeaway from listening in on this, I don't know what you guys are thinking at home, but it's that you have just as much to offer as the influencers do, because you have this med spa and this experience, and they're looking for content. So I thought that was a great call out. And I love the way you're building those relationships, Amanda. And thank you for your time and for being awesome as always. That's fantastic.
DM me if you guys have any questions. I'd love to answer more.
So just kind of wrapping up, we want to give you a live example of what it looks like. We actually have a client, BCRN Aesthetics, here in Houston, Texas. We're based out of Houston. So when I say here, that's why we're here. In 14 days, they've created 25,000 annual recurring revenue from their app. And what they're doing is they're steering, obviously, their traffic into the app from social media, from Instagram. They've increased their sales by almost 90,000. They've increased by 200 additional practice visits. And top tip they have is tease your rewards and memberships on social media before you launch. Phil, let's play the video and take a look exactly how BCRN executed that strategy.
Yeah. So this is what the video is. I'm not going to play the sound or anything. She's just going over the app. You can follow her. But we wanted to give some real life examples. On the other side of it is, okay, how are we going to, when we build a following, how are we going to transact, right? So we're going to send, by the way, after this, we'll send the recording, we'll send the presentation. We'll also send a playbook, because for me, when I saw this, I was like, well, how do I do this green screen thing? And Hannah was like, oh, I'll show you. So she showed me, and I was like, okay, well, the people on this call today, you know, I'd like to give them a bit of a playbook. So she's going over her app and all those pieces, but notice that's what we're doing. We're building an authentic following, and then we're converting. So Gary Vee, if any of you follow him, like back in the day, I used to follow him for marketing. And then he went into NFT land and then, you know, stopped following as much. But at that point, he had a book called Jab, Left Hook. And that always resonated with me. Jab, left hook is value, ask for the sale. Value, ask for the sale. And here with BCRN, they have amazing content, but then they were letting people know, boom, we have memberships and rewards and financing coming. We have our own app coming, et cetera, et cetera. And look, Jab, if you go through their content, it's amazing content. And then the left hook is they converted. They have already, I think, over 1,000 members within their first 14 days. They've created a bunch of revenue from it. And so that is the piece that was saying, how do we convert on the sale? And again, with that framework, Jab, left hook, it's like add value, but don't be shy. You can ask for a sale. Just don't every post that you post be about a sale. You should always be leading with value. Again, Pure Dermatology, another client of ours. You know, every one of our clients, they get a beautiful branding package, right? Where you can get all the A-frames and all the other stuff. What they did is similar in the sense of they had, I guess we don't have this linked, but what Pure Dermatology did is they used it for a launch party, right? So they posted their videos and content to let them know that they launched their skincare membership, Pure Skin Fit. And then they showed what people were missing out with their membership launch party. So if you have Repeat and you haven't done a membership launch party, using those followers you have on social media to create amazing content, and then posting on your stories the live launch party, like the membership party, it'll build FOMO for your next party. So you'll build this, the people that are coming to the practice for the launch party, but also you need to be building FOMO with stories, right? So if I'm ever going to do a membership launch party, I have to have someone in the practice filming the champagne and the red carpet and the balloons and, the give away a Louis Vuitton purse, right? Like, do something to build FOMO. So every time that you have a party, people want to attend. Right? Go back to college and say, how did people make me want to go to these parties? Well, they built FOMO. And the same thing that you need to do. And again, I'm, how I am about giveaways. I want to give away everything, right? But here, I would always say to lead with an offer, right? Why do I want to be at the event? Why do I want to be at your party? Is it a giveaway? Is it specials? Is it champagne? Is it meeting other like-minded people? Always think about why someone would want to attend if you do a party here. So Chris, did you want to speak about any of this?
Yeah. So, the name of this webinar is how to turn your followers into dollars, right? So we talked about how to capitalize and convert and really build the following and build that authentic audience. And what RepeatMD is, it's that gateway, turning your followers into dollars. Let me ask you all a question. Let's say you build a big Instagram following and you wanted to call those people up with a promotion or text them. Can you? The answer is no, because Instagram doesn't share their cell phone information. If you wanted to send your followers an email, could you? The answer is no. The only way to reach your followers and reach your audience at a larger level is to pay more and more for marketing. It's not the most efficient system in the world. So what RepeatMD really creates is that way to complete the funnel. If you steer them into your own database and get them say, hey, we built them up on social media. Now we get them into this reward system. Well, guess what? You own this database. You can text them, you can promote, you can share all of your content. So it's a deeper level in the funnel. And people are using social media to steer people into the rewards. And then as you see, boom, they're converting them into dollars. And that's how we complete the story of turning your followers into dollars using the RepeatMD strategy. And with that being said, Phil, I know we want to talk about some of the resources we have coming soon that are going to take that to even the next level for our clients.
Yeah. So, we just recently brought on an incredible VP of marketing and also a product marketer. One of their first tasks is to build you all a resource center. So they're listening today. So now the pressure's really on them, right? It's like you're building the resource center. So Masterclass downloads, these sort of masterclasses, the email marketing templates, social media templates, marketing kits, the information, best practices, things you can download using your practice and so forth to help you convert. So all these pieces with RepeatMD is we realize that, hey, we're an incredible retention tool, right? We take your patients and we convert them into sales. We convert them into coming in more often. We just believe that at the acquisition funnel, right, like acquiring new patients is really expensive and it's something that you always have to go back to all the time. And so what we want to do is say, okay, how do we help you with the acquisition piece getting into your app? So that's what they're going to be working on with those templates to help you convert. With email campaigns, you should 100% be running email campaigns and sequences. If you're a RepeatMD client, you should be emailing once or twice or 3 times a month about joining your rewards app, because you can use a link. They can get it right there from the email, and you should be posting about it all the time on Instagram. And keep in mind, one of the things I want to say, and I'm sure everyone on this call agrees, is you might feel like sometimes, and I felt like this when I was doing posts all the time with my businesses, I started feeling a bit redundant, right? Where I was like, am I posting too much about the same thing? Right. And so, Amanda, actually, I want to ask you that. What about the emotional feeling of like, I post about this all the time? What's your thought on that? Because I've noticed people stop posting on things, whether it's their rewards app or whether it's their special or whether it's whatever about Emsculpt. They stop posting because they feel like they post too much or too many stories about that. What's your thought about that?
My first thought is if they don't know you, they won't flow you and they won't come in and spend money. So that's what Grant Cardone says. He is a guerrilla marketer that posts all the time. He says, record, post your stories. Don't edit it, just go after it. Do at least one a day. And we'll challenge to post at least all your story content once a day if you're too overwhelmed for your brand on your main posts. You should not ever be afraid to repeat yourself, because there are some people that only see that and it doesn't come back up in their feed for a while. So you shouldn't repeat yourself every day with the same thing, but mix it up. Like every 12 posts, do something a little bit different, but also be thinking about how do you engage that emotional part of the viewer? How do you draw them in? how do you make them want to click and read more and start following you and keep coming back for more content?
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. And also, if you look at user behavior, people follow you for a purpose, and that purpose needs to be repetitive, right? It's like if you follow someone that's like posting all over the place and nothing's consistent, there's so much inconsistency, like people actually won't follow you for that. People follow you for a purpose, and you want to dive all in and double down, triple down on what that purpose is. And I think, Amanda, you talked about something when it comes to high level marketing, which is understanding personas. And all that means is understanding who are the people that want to follow you, or who are the people you want to attract, right? And ask yourself, if I was, if I was Sally Sue at the age of 35, just had my first kid, and that's the persona, what's the content she wants to see, right?
Yeah.
And so thank you
and
all for the amazing panelists on
promote your fellow like there's a major power in collaboration and association. So if you see someone in a different state or across the nation with a great post, repost it and tag them. Like you can tag their content and repurpose it. I see somebody asking this because they're just telling the story in a different way, and it's fun to like give them a shout out. So you can absolutely do that too. You don't want to do that all the time, but if you have a hard time finding content, do that as well.
Yeah,
so.
great advice. And thank you to all of our panelists today for all of your information. And if you notice, I got my lucky hat on, I got my win hat on. So that means one thing, it's Louis Vuitton giveaway time. So if you scan the QR code here or type in this incredibly complex link, or click the link that Sam posted in the chat, probably the easiest thing for you to do. Enter. We're going to give you all 30 seconds to scan. We've done this before, and half the time we spin the wheel and we get the wrong name, but now we've got a new strategy. And Phil, I feel like the first name is going to be the winner. So how much more time should we give him? We got a little, give him a few more seconds.
So we're going to give you a couple minutes to scan this. This will ensure that someone on the call today is about to win, rather than the Zoom registration link. So we're getting more sophisticated. We're getting smarter here at RepeatMD. Otherwise, you got a 1 in 154 chance to win a bag, and then Charles will send it over to you. I've got the bag here, but we'll send it over to you, and we'll always gift receipt.
Hold that bag up again. Let's get a better look at that. I always love that little Louis Vuitton orange.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll send that over to you, gift receipt and all. But we want to make sure that you're on the call today, and we also want to make sure we don't spin the wheel 4 times.
If you can't scan, you can't use your phone camera, click the link. Sam is posting the link in the messages. Click that link again. Sam, spam that link up there a couple more times there. Click that link, sign up. We're gonna give you 35 more seconds countdown. Any questions we want to answer, Phil? Anything you want to say to the crowd or to the group in this 30 seconds while we're waiting for people to join and jump in here?
Yeah, just be at the Sell More Summit on April 15th. That's gonna, if you liked what you saw today, that's going to only increase. You're gonna have incredible value. You're going to learn more about the business of med spas or aesthetics than you probably would learn going to 4 or 5 different shows on the topic. I hope that you understand today, like, we really appreciate your time, and we appreciate the value of the time. And we only want to add back to you super strong content that you can take home with you, right? That's the key here. So yeah, that's my note on that. So send me over the link, team, and we will get this raffle going.
Let's see the Louis Vuitton cover slide, though. We have to have the Louis Vuitton time slide.
That's right. It's Louis Vuitton time.
It's Louis Vuitton time.
All right. So I'm going to get the link over to everybody, from everybody, and then you're going to see the raffle go live. So Jeff, go ahead and Slack me that. We use Slack here.
And while that's coming,
shout out to Slack.
While that's coming, stay tuned. I have an opportunity for a second chance redraw. For those of you who are not RepeatMD clients, we're going to give you a second chance to win a bag. So don't go away. You have a second chance redraw right after this.
All right, here we go. So I got Sam, I got Jeff, I got live. I'm going to hit this wheel, and then if you win, we're going to find you, and we're going to select you to bring you on stage as a panelist, so you can think.
Sounds aggressive. Right. We're going to find you. We're going to select you. We're going to drag you on stage.
All right, here we go. Oh, baby.
Oh man, this is a juicy wheel. I mean, imagine a 1 in 150 chance to win a bag. How sweet is that? Pamela Swinson.
Pamela Svensson.
Well, you're Pamela Winson today.
Oh, baby. All right,
I know.
Sam,
Pamela's
do we
gotta be
have
here.
Pamela here?
Yes. Can you hear
Pamela, are
me?
you here? Oh, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations.
I love me some Louis Vuitton.
I mean, my God, who doesn't?
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Have you ever won a Louis Vuitton bag on going to a Zoom call?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Wait, you have? You've won a Louis Vuitton purse before on a Zoom call?
No, I've only bought
Oh,
them.
yeah, you and the rest of us. I've actually never won a Louis Vuitton bag. Maybe one day RepeatMD will give me one, huh? But
Yeah, maybe not.
But yeah,
Pal?
Pamela, congratulations. And
Thank you.
Charles will get in contact with you, and he's going to ship it right on over to you. Did you enjoy today's webinar?
I did. It was very helpful. I have two takeaways that I will implement immediately.
Amazing.
What were those, Pamela?
So the first is to offer the incentive for
Upfront.
signing up for the app,
Yep.
Mhm.
and then change up the way we are posting on Instagram, because we've only been posting maybe 2 or 3 times a week. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, yeah, we will step that up.
Rookie numbers. We got to up those numbers, Pamela. I love that. That is a fantastic takeaway. And Pamela, what would you say is more valuable, the Louis Vuitton bag or the education you got on the webinar today?
Well, the education will help me buy lots more Louis Vuitton.
Exactly. That's
There you go.
You teach a man to fish,
there, huh?
right? Loaded question.
Exactly.
Okay. And Pamela, thank you so much. Congratulations. Charlie will get your information, send that over. So last thing here, if you see this on your screen, scan this QR code here. Or, if you, I don't know if everybody has the ability to scan. I wish we had the link. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. If we can share that link. If you don't know what RepeatMD is, you want to learn more about it, scan this QR code, schedule a demo, and you're going to be entered for a chance to win a Louis Vuitton bag. We'll do this drawing, right after this round of demos. So anybody who schedules a demo in the next 2 weeks has a chance to win. So, I mean, your odds of winning are really fantastic. We like to do this as our ethical bribe. So worst case scenario, you learn a little bit more about RepeatMD, find out if it's a perfect fit for your practice. Best case scenario, hey, you take a little time and maybe you win yourself a Louis Vuitton bag. But
and yeah, just to be clear, this is if you're not a RepeatMD client today, this is for you there. If you are a RepeatMD client, I promise
you're making enough money, hopefully, to buy your own bags like Pamela.
We will be doing so many Louis Vuitton promotions this year. I had to get our budget approved in January, and my VP of Finance basically fell out of her chair when she saw how much and Louis Vuitton we were planning on giving away this year. So we're gonna, our goal with RepeatMD is to be Louis Vuitton's #1 customer. And so
we're damn close. We buy stock in Louis Vuitton, guys. Thank you all for your time. Like, we absolutely love putting this together. Thank you to all of our panelists. Ashley, thank you to Amanda. Thank you to Hannah, Michelle, Phil, our fantastic host, and all of our participants, everybody who made this possible. And we look forward to seeing you all on our next call, which is the Sell More Summit, April 15th.
Thanks,
Bye
everyone.
now.